In the summer of 1938, a Hungarian army sergeant named Károly Takacs was the best pistol shooter in the world. Not arguably, not almost, the best. He had won every major competition in Europe. He was the favorite for the 1940 Olympic Games in Tokyo. His career was at its absolute peak. His right hand was the most valuable thing he owned, not metaphorically. As a fact, that hand had been trained for years, thousands of hours of practice. Thousands of rounds fired, a level of precision that most shooters spend entire careers attempting and never reaching. And then one afternoon during military training exercises, a defective grenade slipped from another soldier's hand. It landed near Takacs. He reached for it. It exploded. His right hand was gone, not injured, not damaged, gone. And with it, every competition he had prepared for, every medal he had expected, every version of his future he had imagined. Gone. In 1 second. In one explosion. By one defective grenade that had nothing to do with skill or preparation or the thousands of hours he had invested. Now here is what happened next. And I need you to understand before I tell you that what Károly Takacs did in the months after that explosion is either the most disciplined or the most quietly insane thing any athlete has ever done. Possibly both. The question this story asks is not whether he competed again. You already know he competed again. The question is what a person discovers about themselves when the thing they were best at is taken from them completely, and they decide not to accept that as the end of the story. And whether you have ever had something taken from you that you decided was not the last word. Welcome to Untold Archive, the channel that finds the stories of warriors, survivors, and underdogs who faced impossible situations and extracts every lesson they left behind. Today, Károly Takacs, the Hungarian army sergeant who lost his shooting hand in a grenade explosion, disappeared for months, and then showed up at the 1948 Olympic Games, in a story that nobody in that stadium was prepared for. Stay with this video until the midpoint. Because there is one moment in this story, one exchange between Takacs and his competitors, so specific and so quietly extraordinary, that it will make you rethink everything you believe about what it means to start over. Stay for that. Let's go. Number 1. The hand before the grenade. To understand what Károly Takacs lost, you first have to understand what he had spent years building. He wasn't simply a talented shooter. He was one of Europe's finest marksmen, a man whose life revolved around discipline, precision, and relentless practice. Every competition, every hour on the shooting range, and every sacrifice pointed toward one dream, the Olympic Games. Born in 1910 in Budapest, Hungary, Takacs joined the Hungarian army as a young man, where he discovered an extraordinary talent for rapid-fire pistol shooting. But talent alone wasn't what made him great. It was his obsession with improvement. While others practiced until they became good, Takacs practiced until every movement became instinctive. His breathing, his stance, and the squeeze of the trigger were all perfectly controlled. Throughout the 1930s, he dominated European competitions and quickly became the favorite for the 1940 Olympic Games in Tokyo. Other shooters weren't just competing against him, they were trying to catch him. His right hand had become the symbol of everything he had achieved. It was the tool that carried years of experience and precision. But while everyone else accepted defeat, Takacs refused to ask how he could recover what he had lost. Instead, he asked a different question. Could greatness exist without the hand that created it? Number 2, the disappearance. After leaving the hospital, Takacs disappeared. There were no interviews, no public speeches, and no dramatic announcements. He simply vanished from the shooting world. His rivals assumed he had retired. His friends believed he was trying to rebuild his life. What nobody knew was that every day, behind closed doors, he had begun teaching himself to shoot with his left hand. He wasn't making small corrections. He was starting over. Imagine being the best in the world at something, and suddenly becoming a complete beginner. Every practice session reminded him how much he had lost. His aim was inconsistent. His grip felt unnatural. His body resisted every movement. Still, he continued. day after day, week after week, month after month, without an audience, without praise, without knowing if it would ever work. He simply believed the grenade did not deserve the final chapter of his story. Almost a year later, the Hungarian National Shooting Championship arrived. Takacs appeared unexpectedly. His former competitors greeted him warmly. They believed he had come to watch. Many expressed sympathy for the accident that had ended his career. Then Takacs quietly registered as a competitor. The room fell silent. Everyone watched as he stepped onto the firing line holding the pistol in his left hand. Few expected him to finish near the top. Instead, he shocked everyone. He won. Not because people felt sorry for him, not because the competition was weak. He won because, after months of secret training, he had already transformed himself into an elite left-handed shooter. Number 3, the Olympics. Just as Takacs rebuilt his career, history interrupted once again. The 1940 and 1944 Olympic Games were canceled because of the Second World War. Another setback, another delay. Most athletes would never recover from losing 6 years of Olympic competition. Takacs waited. He kept practicing. He kept improving. For 10 years after the accident, he continued refining the technique he had rebuilt entirely from scratch. Finally, in 1948, the Olympic Games returned in London. Takacs was now 38 years old, older than many of his competitors. He stood on the firing line with a prosthetic replacing his right hand and a pistol held firmly in his left. Takacs smiled. "I am here to learn." The competition began. Rapid-fire pistol shooting demands extraordinary speed and accuracy under immense pressure. Every target appears only briefly. Every shot must be perfectly controlled. Takacs remained calm. Round after round, he delivered remarkable precision. When the final scores were announced, the impossible had happened. Karoli Takacs had won Olympic gold. Not only that, he had set a world record. 10 years after losing his dominant hand, he had become the greatest pistol shooter on earth once again. Number 4, what came after? Most comeback stories end with a single victory. Takacs wasn't finished. 4 years later, at the 1952 Helsinki Olympic Games, he defended his title and won another Olympic gold medal. 2 consecutive Olympic championships, both won with a hand he had never expected to use. After retiring from competition, Takacs became a coach, dedicating his life to helping others master the sport he loved. But the greatest lesson he passed on wasn't about aiming or trigger control. It was about identity. When life takes away the method you relied on, it doesn't have to take away the goal. Takacs never confused his right hand with who he was. He wasn't a right-handed shooter. He was a champion. The hand had only been the tool. When the tool disappeared, he found another one. That is why his story continues to inspire people far beyond the world of sports. Karoli Takacs lost the hand that made him a champion, but he refused to let that loss define him. Instead of giving up, he started over, rebuilt his skill, and became an Olympic champion all over again. His story reminds us that setbacks don't have to be the end. Sometimes they're the beginning of a completely different path to greatness. If you enjoyed this story and want more incredible true stories of resilience, courage, and determination, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Number 5. What Karoli Takacs teaches us. Karoli Takacs won 2 Olympic gold medals with a hand he was never supposed to use. His success wasn't built on luck. It was built on a decision he made in private, to start over from zero with what he had left. Lesson 1: be loyal to the goal, not the method. Takacs lost his right hand, but he never lost his identity as a champion. He realized the hand was only the tool, not the dream. When life takes away one path, ask yourself, am I attached to the method or the destination? If the goal still matters, another path always exists. Lesson 2: rebuild in silence. He never announced his comeback or asked for sympathy. Instead, he trained quietly until his results spoke for themselves. Sometimes your greatest progress happens when nobody is watching. Lesson 3: being a beginner isn't failure. Cox went from being the world's best right-handed shooter to a complete beginner with his left hand. He accepted the struggle because he knew every expert is first a beginner. Growth starts the moment you're willing to learn again. His story reminds us that greatness isn't about the tools you have. It's about the determination to keep moving forward when those tools are taken away.